In this video, we're going to practice John 3:16 using a form of American Sign Language. This comes from the song God Gave, which was done by Gospelite VBS, and you can see the song in its entirety at the YouTube video referenced on the screen. For this video, we're just going to do the sign language of the chorus. I'm going to go ahead and do the whole thing first right now, and then we'll go through each sign individually, and then we'll do the whole thing once more. So here's the song, or at least the chorus. For God so loved the world that he gave his one and only Son, that whoever believes in him will not perish. For God so loved the world that he gave his one and only Son, that whoever believes in him will not perish, but have eternal life. Alright, so my hands messed up a little bit there, but that's how the chorus goes, and those were most of the signs. So let's do them one by one. The first sign is for. Anything dealing with reason is going to come out of the mind. And when we say for, it's the same thing as saying because. So the reason God sent his Son, so this is what for is. God is the one that comes down from above. God, and that's made with the B hand, or the thumb going over your palm. And then I'm right-handed, so most of my dominant signs are going to be with my right hand. So I face it going forward, and then I bring it down from above. So for God, a lot of times we'll communicate with more than just our hands or more than just our words. And this is one of those signs where you really need to add a little bit more. In this case, there's no sign for so, but we do have a sign for love. It's kind of like you're giving yourself a hug. So in order to really emphasize that God loved the world so much, we're going to give yourself a really big hug. The world is a W, and we're going to do this in both hands, and we're going to make a circle going over and under and then in place. So the world is that circle with both W's. And it's going, your dominant hand, my right hand, is going to go forward, then under my left, then back on top, and finally landing on top. That he gave, so we've got three signs here. That we take our Y and our palm, and we put the Y in the palm. So that's the sign for that. If we miss that sign, it's not a big deal. It's almost an empty word, but it does carry us forward from one idea, because God loved the world so much, to the second idea, he gave his one and only Son. When we talk about he, we want to point to who he is referring to, in this case, God. And gave, we're going to hook our fingers, our index fingers, and push them forward. So he gave. So those three signs together, that he gave. Because we already referenced who he is, his is going to be the same thing. So we don't have to sign that one again. We're going to use the single finger for one. And in this case, because we've got one and only that we're doing together, we're going to just put the one straight up and leave it there. We're not going to move it. And we're going to put palm forward in this case. So he gave his one. And that makes it easy to do the circle for only. And in this case, with only, we're going to put palm backwards, palm facing myself. So that he gave his one and only. In American Sign Language, ideas related to maleness come from the forehead. Ideas related to femaleness come from the cheek. So in this case, because we're talking about Son, we're going to have our hand, and our left hand is going to be a palm down. Our right hand is going to be almost like saluting at our forehead. And the idea of birth is just this curve going down. So the sign for sun is from the forehead into the waiting palm of the left hand. Again, if we miss that, it's okay. Whoever is, we're going to take our one finger in front of our chin and sort of wiggle it twice. So straight, hooked. That's the sign for who, and it also works for whoever. Believe, again, remember, it's the idea of reason, so we're going to point to our head, but we may use our whole palm because believing uses a lot more than just one thought. It's like all of our thoughts. And we're going to take those thoughts and we're going to capture them in our hands. So we're going to take our thoughts and capture them, and that means we really believe what we're saying. So whoever believes, in is sort of, we're going to go under our waiting hand, and then him, again, we're pointing back to God. Will not perish. The W coming off of our chin going forward is will. But if we forget that, it's not the end of the world. Here, instead of saying not, the correct sign for not is the thumb off the chin. But I don't want to say not so much because that's sort of a small word and tends to be a little bit almost rude if we're just doing it. So in this case, we want a little bit stronger word, but we're giving a word that is similar in meaning. So we want to say never. And the never is, we're going to take our same B hand and sort of shake it as we're going off to the side, to the right. So never. Perish, we're going to have our left hand open up and our right hand open down. This is the sign for die. So perish and die have the same meaning here. And we're going to flip them over. So perish. So the three signs together: will, not, or never, perish. But you really have to have some attitude here. But, and here we're going to change have eternal life. This idea have eternal life is very passive. So we want to change this into something more active. So instead of have, which you may have seen the sign like have, like you just, it's on you. We're going to actually take these words and make live the active word. So live is, you're going to take your L fingers or your L hands, put them down towards your stomach, and then bring them up towards your chest with a little bit of a curve. So we're going to live, and then eternal, we're going to change that to forever. So there's two motions for forever. So you've got the same circle that we used for only. So we could also use it for always and forever. So we do the circle, but just to give it really that big push, that emphasis, we're going to take our Y's and move them forward. That's really ever. So we're going to say, but live forever. But as we're singing, but have eternal life. Because we want to keep the rhythm there as well. So now that you've got all those signs, if you need to go back and look at them again, that's fine. But here's the chorus one more time in its entirety. And my chorus just moved, so let me go there. Now we've got it. Here's the chorus. For God so loved the world that he gave his one and only Son, that whoever believes in him will not perish. For God so loved the world that he gave his one and only Son, that whoever believes in him will not perish, but have eternal life. One more time. For God so loved the world that he gave his one and only Son, that whoever believes in him will not perish. For God so loved the world that he gave his one and only Son, that whoever believes in him will not perish but have eternal life. Thanks for watching.